Times leader Todd Griffin and Ty Englebright in studio this morning to talk about everything sports. It's the Sideline Report on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger. Hey, Todd, we're on time at 9:03. Good morning. Welcome to the Sideline Report. Yeah, heck yeah. It's hard to believe it happens that way all the time. So that means maybe we'll be on time for the end, but I doubt it.
No, we'll probably go over. It's the wrong time of year to
worry about the clock, right? Yeah. I agree with that 100%. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sideline Report. Ty Englebright, along with Todd Griffin, sports editor of the Times Leader. We're so glad you can join us this morning, and our guests that will be coming up here in just a minute. We're not going to reveal that yet, but remember, you can always comment and reply via text line 270-963-9038 if you'd like to make a comment. And Todd, full swing. We've had several soccer games, volleyball matches, and football coming up.
Oh, absolutely. And it's 5:30 Friday. You just want to get that out there, and we'll try to pass that along several times. I tried to get that in paper several times on Wednesday because a little bit unusual starting time. It's the first game over the Stadium of Champions in the Jerry Claiborne Bowl. Hopkinsville and South Warren will play the late game, but Caldwell County and Christian County will kick things off at 5:30. So keep that in mind. 5:30.
Yeah, they'll kick the ball at 5:30. So that means get over there, and I mean, that's kind of early for some on a Friday for work, but leave work and just rush out over to the Stadium of Champions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and get in there because that's going to be both those games are going to be great football games, I think.
Oh, they should. Caldwell County and Christian County. Last year, I thought Christian County probably had more athletes, a little bit quicker, and, of course, ended up winning the game. But I think if the teams had met later in the year, that game would really have been interesting. Christian County started the season 11-0 last year. They didn't lose their only game until the second round of the playoffs. So, but Caldwell County improved a lot toward the end. The Tigers were definitely a lot better team toward the end of the season than they were beginning the season. I think if you look at this year, though, I think the Tigers probably start out the year, ahead of Christian County because it's Christian County this year that has to play a lot of people that maybe don't have a lot of experience.
Right. Well, it's going to be a great night of football tomorrow night, and forecast is looking okay. I mean, there's a pretty good chance for some rain, but I wouldn't let that stop you from heading over there. Take your trash bag, take your raincoat, take a hat, and be ready to sit back and watch some great football.
Oh yeah, and we've got a top 5 coming up later. Even though we've got a jam-packed show, it's going to be our top 5 favorite songs from the 80s.
Songs from the 80s.
So be thinking about that, and you can play along later when we get to that. But
can we throw some country in there, too?
Sure.
All right, cool. All right. I think I might have a few of those.
I thought maybe you'd have a couple of Kenny Rogers songs on your list
anyway. No Kenny Rogers today. Maybe Kenny G.
Rupert Holmes?
Maybe. I might. I might. But I think you got to go back before the 80s for some of that. So,
okay. Well, we've hit some football already, and so we want to bring in our guest now. Live on the phone, the mayor of Western Kentucky University, Chris George. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you all?
Good morning.
Got a big football game coming up Friday night.
I'm ready for some football. I have my rain suit ready.
There you go.
Everybody better have their rain suit ready.
Todd knows weather outside of the perfect 72 degrees is I'm not much on weather of any kind, hot, cold, or wet, snowy, so I have clothes for all conditions, and yes, I'm getting my rain suit ready. I will be completely waterproof.
I was going to say, Chris always brings his entire wardrobe wherever he goes, so he's prepared for anything.
I just want him to break out one of those cool hats that I see him in every now and then, one of those dress hats that he wears, man. But you don't want to
really get those wet.
That's exactly right.
Well, Chris, it looks from here like the Tigers are set up to have a really nice season, but, it's a really difficult schedule, so what are your thoughts going into the year?
Well, I looked at the wonderful preview. A great job again, Todd, as always.
Thank
you. Do a top-notch job giving the Tigers what I think is probably the best coverage of any high school team in the state, bar none. I don't think anybody, the people of Princeton, Caldwell County, should be very proud of the Times leader and Todd Griffin because I don't think any team any high school team gets the amount of coverage that our Tigers get, and I think sometimes people forget that don't live in the city don't realize that in other areas of the state, teams don't get the amount of in-depth coverage that the Tigers get. And we should all thank Todd for that because it's wonderful. So that preview, colleges would be proud to have somebody giving them that depth of coverage that you gave our student athletes, and I appreciate it.
Ditto.
Yeah, well, I thought all the previews came out really well. I was really happy with it.
I haven't seen them all yet.
Yeah, the volleyball is great.
Does the mail get there yet?
Yeah, volleyball is great. I mean, all of them are good, Chris. I mean, like you said, I'll second that, man. He just goes all out, and very fortunate to have Todd doing what he does here for the county in sports.
I plan to collect them all Friday.
Oh, okay.
Because I read online, and so I have not seen the others. The images look good of all the others, but yes, Todd, you're exactly right. All of our student athletes get just the best coverage, especially our volleyball, soccer, baseball, softball. In other areas of the state, they don't get that depth of coverage if they get any. And Todd does a great job for Princeton, Caldwell County, and Lyon County. They should be proud.
No doubt.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on the season coming up?
I'm pretty excited. I tell you, the thing that has me most excited in looking at the preview was what I assume is a little bit of a position swap, and that is Trail going to H and Jameer going to Y.
Yeah, I wondered if people caught that.
I am absolutely excited because I don't know, I didn't get to see scrimmage last week. I was away, hadn't really talked to Todd or anybody about what's going on at practice, but I envision Jameer playing that role of Cameron Williams in the original version of Coach Barnes' offense, and Ted Sibbles, and that both of those guys were just absolutely unstoppable because you never knew what was going to happen with them. And I think Jameer is every bit as good a football player and athlete as those guys, and I think he's going to be a nightmare for opposing coaches at that wide position.
Yeah, I think that Jameer is kind of underrated. I don't know why he doesn't get more looks because just an incredible athlete, plays with a lot of heart. I don't think he's a true running back, but he had to play the position last year, and he did all he could there and really was a big part of the offensive success last year because he was willing to go to that spot and play so hard and play, pretty well for a guy that I don't really think has played a whole lot of running back before. But this year, with the Eric Hollowell, coming back into town and moving into that running back spot, as you mentioned, Jameer now goes to the H. So when the Tigers do their two-back thing, you're going to see Hollowell and Jameer Riley in that backfield. And, man, if you're a defense, who do you key on? Because then you look at all the receivers, and it's like, you can't double cover everybody, and all those guys are good enough to beat you one-on-one.
And I think Trail at H is what do you do?
Trail's at Y.
Not according to your paper.
No, they switched. Jameer is the H and Trail is the Y.
Oh, your position breakdown has Jameer at Y and Trail at H still.
Well, let me look and see.
He's going to look and see. We're
looking.
We're checking the facts.
No, Trail is the Y. The Y is the tight end. Jameer is the H.
Yeah. Okay, well, you got it backwards. I knew it was on the I knew on the grid, but I was looking at the numerical the numerical roster.
Oh, we didn't change the roster. You're right. So everybody's right. Everybody's right. But in reality, Jameer
Boy, I'm getting excited about getting these top 5 songs of the 80s now. We got a little heat started in the morning. We'll get some heat about that. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. It's fun.
Number 1, the heat is on.
But I'm really excited about Trail at the tight end position, too, because who do you match up a linebacker or a safety on the best athlete on the field, best pure athlete on the field? I mean, he's going to run free.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, we haven't even mentioned, that Joby Jaggers is back at quarterback, bigger, stronger this year, has had a lot of work in the offseason. And then you talk about the receivers.
I
mean, Oliver Parker and Travis Newsome, those guys are pretty good.
Yeah, they're going to be single covered on the outside, and Oliver made some amazing catches last year.
Bottom line for me, guys, if we can keep people from scoring, which is key in football.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to score some points, I think.
I think so, too.
I like the way things are looking. And
those guys up front are back.
Yeah.
This time last year, as Coach Barnes mentioned in the preview, the entire offensive line had no varsity starts.
Right.
Most of the our quarterback had no varsity starts.
Mm-hmm.
So you went into last season with a lot of unknowns. I don't know that there are a lot of unknowns for the offense this year. Now, defense has a couple of places where, you're playing with people who haven't played a whole lot. But I think those kids are going to be all right there, too. So.
Yeah, and those are maybe probably bugs and kinks, I think, that as we start the season, hopefully, it's hard to you got to be in that game situation, really, I think, for coaches to really evaluate what they want to do to change some things around if they have to. So it might take a few games for the staff to kind of see, but I think we have some athletes over there and some voids that will be filled nicely.
Well, and last year the team kind of relied on an experienced defense, especially early in the year, to get things going. Maybe this year it's the experienced offense that kind of carries the load while the defense comes along.
What do you think, Chris?
I agree. We lost a lot on defense, a lot of leadership, a lot of experience, but I'll tell you two guys that I think are I watched them last year as freshmen, and they're just tough as nails, and that's Russ Basure and Tate Van Hoosier. They just go out whenever they got a chance to get a snap offensively or defensively, they went 100 miles an hour, and I think they will step into a couple of those defensive spots and really help us out. And it's big to get Dylan Cavanaugh back at whatever he plays, corner, safety. I'm not quite sure what his technical spot is.
It's technically the strong safety, but they move those guys around.
Right.
If I remember correctly from last year, depending on the team we were playing and what type of receivers they had, they kind of did some different things in the secondary to move people around to, just kind of take advantage of everybody's talents.
But I will say defensively that helps those young linebackers is going to be, we're so fortunate to have two shutdown corners in the Rileys. And people forget that Gabe East, I think, had 7 or 8 interceptions as a sophomore.
Right.
His production went down a little as a junior. He just goes and finds the ball. And so, when you can really almost make a team one-dimensional because of your corners and your safeties, it really helps your linebackers.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no doubt about it. Man, I tell you, we're sitting here talking. It's hard not to get excited about Friday night's game because, as Todd said, I think Christian County sort of rebuilding. They lost a lot of senior leadership, a lot of position players. So
I think they lost 27 seniors.
Yeah, I think I just thought it was in the 20s.
And not only that, they lost a couple of kids to transfers to other schools.
Exactly.
So, that's a whole lot to try to overcome.
It is, and this might be one of the few years where I think going into the game, even though it's over in Christian County playing the Stadium Champions, we're probably the favorite, aren't we?
I would think so, yeah.
So
just because of everything Christian County lost, and you look at everything Caldwell has coming back.
That's right. So two good football games. That South Warren-Hopkinsville game is going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Both of those teams are ranked in the top 10.
That's what I said, yeah.
Hopkinsville in 4A, and Chris, is South Warren 5A?
I think they were number 4, number 5 in 5A.
Yeah, see, and Hopkinsville was around the 5 or 6 spot in 4A, so there's an early season test for you.
No doubt about it. If you got any comments or like to make a thing, 963-9038. Go ahead, Chris.
One thing that I was reading Cats Balls this week, and I'm going to call this out as just absolutely – I usually strongly believe in Cats Balls is doing a good job, and I know they depend on area sports writers to help them write the high school stuff, and that's what I'm really interested in the Cats Balls. I thought it was absolutely shameful that in the players to watch, we had Trail as the player of the year, Joby as a player to watch. How do you not have Jameer Riley as a player to watch and Mitchell Harrelson? Mitchell Harrelson is getting national publicity as a long snapper, and you don't put him down as a player to watch. I was just, that to me was shameful.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can only put so many people on those lists, though. I mean, it's kind of like the Gridiron Glory top 10, and I saw Jameer was at number 6, and Kent Trey Matthews from Mayfield was number 7, and I'm like, there's not 5 guys better than those 2 guys in Western Kentucky. There's just, Matthews might be the best player down at Mayfield, and Jameer needs to be up there too.
So I'm assuming Trail will be 1 or 2, because I haven't seen anything from him yet?
Yes, he will be one of those.
Yeah.
I know which one, but I'm not really supposed to say. So.
Well, don't say. Hey, I keep the mystery out there. But
he will be one of the top 2.
I figured the Mayfield kid would
because
be
they're down to 2.
I missed. Right.
The Guthrie kid was actually number 3.
Guthrie was number 3, I think.
Wow. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep the suspense up.
He's been mudding, so maybe he's been the mud runner, but that's okay. He does a great job over there. and I wouldn't want to have to do that. I mean, that's pretty tough.
Oh, yeah.
Those are tough picks, you know.
Well, the coaches, I think, vote on those picks.
That's right. That's right. The coaches.
But, I mean, you can't win in any list, whether it's teams or players or whatever. There's always going to be somebody that should have been here or somebody who gets left out. I mean, you look at the all-state teams every year. There's deserving kids that just, some parts of the state, they don't get any publicity and they don't make the team. And
right. No doubt.
So that'll be interesting to see, yeah.
Let's talk about you guys' your guys' predictions.
Picks,
yeah. Let's talk about y'all's picks.
I think we were pretty close. Chris went with McCracken County, and I think I've got Tillman winning that game, but I think everything else was pretty straight up.
Somebody picked I think Chris picked Fort Campbell, too.
Oh, really?
Isn't that right, Chris?
I did.
Yeah.
I've got that.
I did pick Fort Campbell.
Yeah, I thought you did. I looked at it online yesterday, I think, and I thought you had picked.
That first week is hard.
It is. But I kind of applaud you for that pick, though. That's kind of cool that you kind of went the other way, I think. And sometimes those picks like that tend to help you out in your percentage as you head through the year.
Well, and the thing with Fort
I'm just
Campbell,
trying not to fall behind, Todd.
Yeah, I hear you.
With Fort Campbell, it's tough to know from year to year.
Yeah, what they got.
Yeah, it's tough with a lot of teams because you look at what they have coming back and you try to put together, well, if all these pieces come together, they'll be pretty good. But you never know for sure. I mean, there's a whole lot more that goes to it. Teams have to play together, and sometimes you have to get a break or two here or there to win games. But and Fort Campbell has a new quarterback this year.
Yeah.
However, one of the kids that played quarterback last year transferred out.
Okay.
So,
and that happens on an Army base like that.
So, I think the Fort Campbell Marshall game is going to be close. Just which way do you want to go?
What I like about the way we do the picks is we don't know what everybody else is picking. So it's not like we can get there and strategically, well, everybody else is picking Fort Campbell, even though Marshall is, I think it's close. I'm going to pick Fort. We make our blind picks, email them to Todd, and then, we all get the same surprise in the time the leader on Wednesday of, oh, wait a minute, this happened. And so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think that pick works out. It's not like on, the NFL picks guys when they go down the line there and everybody's hearing who's picking, and then they go, well, maybe I ought to pick, Yeah.
Well, in the NFL,
and I got to do better.
So
I had a subpar performance last year. I got to do better.
Yeah, I'm pulling for you, Chris. I'm pulling for you.
I need it. I got to do better. I fell behind early. Went against the Tigers a couple of times, and it didn't. I think the football gods were like, you don't go against your home team very much. And I went against the hometown guys a couple of times, and I had to pay for it.
You paid for it, yep.
Well, the football picks are supposed to be fun. We're supposed to. It's a nice, jovial, friendly atmosphere.
Yeah,
until we start picking the games, and then it all goes crazy.
Yeah, I don't see how you guys. I don't see how sometimes you guys make it back on those car rides. Sometimes
it's a lot like earlier when we were talking about the H and the Y.
Thinking, H and the Y. I'm right. No, I'm right. That's fantastic.
We have some interesting Friday nights in the Times Leader office. They could put a TV camera in there, and we could probably be on ESPN 15 and get some viewers, because it gets pretty heated some nights. It gets very interesting, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Getting back to this week's game though at Christian County is a little tough to handicap because there are so many unknowns. And I think I saw this written someplace that Christian County could end up being not very good this year, or they could end up being really good because they've got so many athletes. They have another big senior class this year. But the difference between last year's senior class and this year's is last year's had a lot of experience.
Right.
They had a lot of returning guys. I think they had at least 7 or 8 guys that are playing college football somewhere now. one of them's at Purdue with, our boy Elijah Sindelar. Yeah. Just all kinds of athletes. The quarterback from last year walked on at the University of Kentucky. He's on the Wildcat football team this year. So Christian County last year was expecting to have a big year. This year, the jury is still kind of out on what Christian County is going to look like this season.
And Todd, you mentioned Kobe Lange being at University of Kentucky. I've told I'm a big UK football fan, and I've been telling other big fans in my group that we set together at the stadium, don't sleep on this kid. He's going to be heard from before he leaves Lexington. He has got all the tools. I cannot believe they got him. Were able to get him as a walk-on.
Put up some big numbers in high school for sure.
But he's got a big arm, and he's just a good big kid with a big arm. And I told him, I said, he may never start a game, but he is the kind of player that gives you a capable backup, that he could be the number 2 or 3 guy before he's a senior. And we're going to hear from him. But I've been impressed with him as a freshman when he slung it out with Sindelar over at Stadium of Champions. I was like, this kid is big time, and I can't believe he was so under-recruited and undervalued on the recruiting trail.
Well, since we're talking about UK, the word out of Lexington that I've gotten is that this year's team looks a whole lot different than past UK teams. That, in the past, Kentucky teams would kind of get blown up that, hey, this is the year, this is going to be the year they break through, and it never quite happened. Well, some people are saying this year that, from going out and watching practice, that this year's Kentucky team actually looks like an SEC football team, not just with the starting lineup, but actually some depth behind it, which you need once you get in the big SEC games.
I believe expectations have to be tempered. The schedule is a nightmare. This team could be remarkably better on the field and with the product and not win as many games.
That's sort of like Caldwell County. Could be better, and the record might not be as good as last year. But going back to Caldwell County for just a second, Chris, I don't know if you looked at the schedule real close, but it looks to me like outside of maybe Christian County, everybody else has a chance to be better this year. Graves County lost a lot of people, but the Mathis kid is back at quarterback, and they're expecting big things from him. I think he was maybe number 4 on the Gridiron Glory list. Mm-hmm. So just across the board, it looks like a lot of teams are going to be better. I would say at least 8 of the teams on Caldwell County's schedule this year look to be improved from last year.
Now, is the Mathis kid the kid that played quarterback against us? Or no. I know one of the quarterbacks was hurt.
Yeah, he was injured last year, and we didn't see him.
Okay, so we saw the other quarterback.
Yeah, but Graves lost quite a bit up front, and they lost the big receiver kid. So,
okay,
and their running back is a younger kid too.
Okay, but yeah, you look at Crittenden County; they're going to be better. Hillman, I know they've had a tough loss with Coach Duncan not having to step down, but I still think they will be better, and we got to go there. I mean, that's just a tough place to play.
Well, those kind of things can unify a team, though.
Right.
Having to replace your coach right before the start of the season. I mean, everybody can kind of rally around that and go play. And we saw last year, I mean, Tillman does not lack for athletes.
Or physicality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll smash you. Yeah, they're just hard nosed, and they'll beat you up.
Oh yeah, I mean that was the most physical game we saw last year.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Union always plays us tough, no matter where the game is. The stakes are always high in that game. Union plays us tough, and then Trigg County's a rivalry game, so emotions are going to be high. And Trigg County hasn't gotten us in several years. And they'd love to nothing more than to send our big senior class out that's kind of been giving them nightmares for 10 years as they come through junior pro and all the others at middle school, that they probably love more than to send them out with an L in the final time they see these guys. So, that's going to be a tough game too. I think we've got a very competitive schedule, but that's going to get us ready for the playoffs.
Well, even when you get to the playoffs, I think you're going to see some good teams because Elizabethtown might be down just a little bit from the team they had last year, which I thought was really, really good. And then when I saw them, I thought they were even better. LaRue County is going to be tough this year. They have a kid that's, being talked about for the Mr. Football Award already. And then Tillman's going to be there somewhere too. So, the playoffs are going to be tough, but I think Caldwell County is going to be right there too. This is something that, we actually talk about several times, I think, on this show, and Chris and I have mentioned it before when we do our pregame Facebook Live before the football games. Sure, these other teams are good. I mean, there's no harm in giving them credit and proper due, and enjoy watching them and how good they are. But sometimes we forget that we're pretty good too.
Oh yeah,
Caldwell County's pretty good. I think we have to realize that we have a good program, and whether we're playing Paducah Tillman or Mayfield or Christian County or Hopkinsville, we should expect to be able to go compete with those people.
I think, Todd, I believe you would all both agree, being around Tiger football for the last decade, outside of Mayfield, we're probably the second best program right now in Western Kentucky. I know. Well, maybe McCracken County, but they haven't been as successful as I think they thought they were going to be in 6A. But, you'd have to say we're 2 or 3 in Western Kentucky over the last decade.
Yeah, I think
and that says a lot for a 2A, 3A school.
Oh, yeah. If you look back over the last 10 years, I think Caldwell County has had as much success against Mayfield as anybody else has because, those guys are really good and hardly anybody beats them.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with you wholeheartedly, Chris. And, there was a time there, several years ago where, when we fielded a team and played Mayfield, it wasn't, we're just going to lay over and get beat. I mean, we were going to beat those guys, and we did, And so, and I think we're right there. Yeah, they're the gold standard of West Kentucky, and they're, a powerhouse every year, but yet I don't think when somebody looks down their schedule and sees Caldwell County that they're going to go, yippee, we're going to play Caldwell County.
Oh, yeah, nobody's marking down a W.
No. So that's and that's what you want. You want to think, oh my goodness, we got to play those guys. They're going to come in here and punch us in the mouth and have us limping home, and that's what you want.
Well, if you can't cover all the receivers, you can get beat pretty bad pretty quick. So that's
right.
part of it.
Yeah.
You talk about Mayfield, and Todd and Gary know one of my running complaints has always been, and I love to complain. I complain about everything. One of my running complaints is, I don't mind playing Mayfield, but why do we have to play them right before the playoffs? But what Todd and Gary always have to remind me is Mayfield folks are saying the same thing. I don't mind playing Caldwell, but why do we have to play them right before the playoffs start and get beat up? So, to me, that's a compliment that their fans say the same things about us that I say about them. Is I don't mind playing them, but I don't want to play them right before the playoffs.
Well, I can tell you this. I guarantee their fans anymore, I don't think they look at the Caldwell game and go, that's a W. I don't think that one bit. I think they're just saying, oh, man, we got to take care of business. And I think we go down there this year.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought we'd go down there, and that's not a fun place to play. They get to pull their cars and trucks right up to the fence and put their headlights on you sometimes. And man, I remember the last time we were down there. We went out there and we played a first half of football that was just. I mean, we punched them in the nose. I mean, we really did, and had them on their heels and really whipped them up and down the field the whole first half. Then they go in for halftime and do that Mayfield thing. They get their Mayfield pixie dust on.
Well, and they made a play right before halftime that gave them a little momentum.
They did. They had a little momentum going into halftime, but boy, it was a totally different second half. Yeah. But that's a testament to their coaching staff, but just how tough a place it is to play.
Yeah. Well, the year we went to the state championship game, we absolutely got buried in Mayfield, and people are like, well, this team's not going anywhere. And they played for the state championship, and if that game had been 30 seconds longer, probably would have won the state championship.
No doubt about it. And I cannot forget, I always have to throw this out. My senior year in high school, I didn't play football. I was working in radio, but our football team, I think, won 2 games that year. And that was 80. I mean, I graduated in 86, but that was the 85 season.
They won 3.
They did win 3. They won 3. Yeah, they did win 3. But they beat Crittenden County, who won a state championship that year. They beat Mayfield, that won a championship that year. And the other team they won was...
Well, that's a great trivia question.
Yeah, that is a great trivia question.
Who out there knows the other team Caldwell County beat that year?
I know who it is, but...
I know this.
I know you know.
It's come up before, so I know
it was your junior year. But anyway, but that was always pretty cool. I was always glad for our football team. And
they beat Crittenden County because that's the night it came a monsoon at Crittenden County, wasn't it?
I think that's right. But then they had a mud bowl at Mayfield,
too. Yeah,
won that game 15-7. That was Coach G's last game.
Yeah.
But if Bruce McAllister's out there listening, he's probably grinning right now.
Somebody knows. I know somebody out there knows the other team. No.
Oh, I can't remember who it is. And I was.
We'll give you the answer a little bit later, but we'll give you
that.
some time to.
But that was that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
For that team, because I mean.
Well, and those teams played some tough schedules too.
They did.
But going back to the Mayfield thing, I don't think Mayfield ever looks at their schedule and sees anybody they can't beat. And I think that's where you want to get to.
Exactly.
I think if you're Caldwell County, you want to get, as a program, to where Mayfield is because, as you mentioned, they are the gold standard. And the thing I like about Mayfield fans is they will give you an honest assessment of your team. Whether you're really good or really bad or wherever you have deficiencies, they're going to let you know.
One of our seniors on that team has chimed in with an answer.
All right.
Shall we say who it is?
We'll give everybody a chance to.
Okay, well, we'll give you a few minutes here.
Yeah.
But one of our proud seniors, I believe it was a lineman, who somebody always joked about him being always on the ground. But
of course, if you have a copy of.
He's going to love that one. He's going to chime back here in a second. I hope he does.
If you have a copy of 100 Years of Tiger Football, you can actually go.
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah, that is the masterpiece book of Tiger football. There's no doubt about it. If you want to know a stat,
except for the record section, because it came out.
There is something
in 2010. Well, then Elijah Sindelar and those guys, and Shane Burns and Will Barnes and everybody that's come through since then, busted up all those records. So the record book section's kind of a little outdated now because of those guys.
And we got a little added value from the person who sent this answer in. So if you're out there listening and you want to chime in as to who you think that is, then let us know. There's another one.
Hey, Chris, do you know?
No, who won that game?
Who the other team was? Yeah.
I have no idea, and I'm not wanting to cheat by going through because I've got the preview up, and I'm like,
he's probably got that. He's probably got that book on his lap.
I was like, I'm not going to cheat. I'm just going to wait and see because I'm trying to think, who do we play every year that it could have been? And the only thing I'm thinking is maybe
another senior chimes in. He knows. Got it right.
Maybe Trigg, maybe Murray, because I know back in those we were paying them all the time. So maybe Trigg, maybe Murray. I don't know.
No, not those two.
Maybe he.
Yeah. Good guesses, but no.
Think about somebody we've dominated.
We'll find out.
Yeah, there you go.
think about a team we've dominated. and
I know now.
You know now, don't you?
Yeah.
I know now.
That's one of those where you have two state champions.
That's one of those that
they
look at Caldwell County in the schedule and they go, uh-oh.
Well, they used to.
Oh, yeah, they used to. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're great folks up there. I'm just having fun. But they do that when they see the junior pro schedule, when they see the middle school schedule. I'm just kidding out there. I'm just having fun.
Okay, so let's. Well, I want to ask one more football question of Chris because
okay.
he is the mayor of Western Kentucky University. I like to say. How is our guy D looking up at Western? Have you heard anything? I saw his picture the other day on Twitter.
I talked to him. Of course, I sent you that picture, that practice photo the other day. I didn't talk with him, but I texted with him last week. I was up around the football stadium and saw them out there practicing, and he is practicing, expecting to log some minutes this fall. Said his knee is slow, is coming back, rounding out in the form. So he seems to be one that always seems to be around the camera when they start taking the pictures. So that's
I just hate that he got hurt last year because he was really coming on. He was really playing well, and I was actually watching that game. I can't remember if it was on TV or if I was watching on the internet or what, but I was actually watching the game where he got hit
went down,
and it was friendly fire, I think, that got him.
Yeah, it was Overstreet from Tillman that they both sacked Vandy's quarterback, and D took the worst end of the hit.
Oh, it was Vanderbilt, wasn't it? So that was probably the SEC network that game was on.
Yeah. So yeah, he's excited. a little bit of excitement around here about football, overshadowed by our basketball, of course, right now.
Yeah.
But
well, that's interesting because just a few years ago, everybody was fired up about football, and the basketball was kind of an overthought or oversight, whatever word I'm looking for there.
I think if you're a fan of Western Kentucky University, you got to be excited about all their sports.
Football took a little bit of a hit last year, but hopefully this is a bounce back year for them.
You got to throw the ball, and I don't say that much, Todd. You know me, I would run the ball 60 times a game normally, but we throw the ball around Bowling Green, Kentucky. So,
well, after Brom was
that's
there,
what our fans like.
I mean, and could Elijah Sindelar have gotten a better head coach at Purdue?
Wow.
Than for Brom to come in and take over that program, and just talking about Purdue for a little bit because I think they start on August 30th, whatever that Thursday is. They're on ESPN against Northwestern.
Game,
I really feel like Elijah Sindelar is going to be their starting quarterback. I think David Blau will play some.
Are they going to announce it, or is it just going to be send the guy out on the field?
With Brom, you're never sure.
Yeah, that's what I wondered, if they were going to make an announcement.
Yeah, Brom is super secretive about everything, so there's no telling what he's going to do. I could see him having both of them in the huddle.
I was going to say, I can foresee a trick play somewhere where both quarterbacks are out there. But please do not run the play. Do not run the play where you throw it back to Sindelar and have him try to chuck it, because I've seen that play twice, and he got blown up twice. Once at Caldwell County and once at Purdue. So do not run that play.
No, you don't want to get him hammered.
I truly believe I'm a big, big Brom fan, and I truly believe because of Brom, we will hear Elijah Sindelar's name called in the draft.
Wow. Because
Brom's got 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, Mike White played his last year under Coach Sanford, but he was groomed under Brom. Dowdy. I truly, truly believe we will hear Elijah Sindelar's name called in the mid-rounds of a draft this next year after next because of his arm and because of Brom.
Sindelar certainly has a next-level arm, and that's not me sitting here being a big homer. He actually has an arm that good. Can he do all the other things? It remains to be seen.
And I think
he does have the arm.
And he's got a quarterback head too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the mind to do the. I mean, because we all know when you get. I mean, it's like throwing an engineering handbook to somebody. It probably is the college level, but it definitely is the NFL level when they throw you a playbook.
Well, you look at a Tom Brady, who's one of the best quarterbacks ever. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but pretty sharp guy at quarterback.
Yeah, he knows how to get it done. So
okay, before I forget, should we go ahead and give the answer?
Yes, let's do that. And we've got another little bit of trivia too, and you might can confirm it or not. One of our seniors has given me another bit of trivia on this tier. So go ahead and reveal it.
So the other team that Caldwell County beat that year, besides beating state champion Crittenden County and state champion Mayfield, was Webster County.
Yeah.
So if you have that, you win. Yeah, it was Webster County.
And Will Brown chimes in. He says that's the only loss for both teams.
Oh, really?
He said only loss for both teams. And I said Webster, and he said yes.
Oh.
So
I don't remember that, but
yeah. So that was kind of interesting. Eric Griggs chimed in there. Yeah, he got it right too.
Yeah.
He said nice penalty, Willie. There you go, Will. Y'all can start it out. I don't know which play he was talking about, but obviously there was a penalty there somewhere. That this is interesting. I just checked the LPGA leaderboard, and Emma Talley just birdied her first hole. She's -1 through 9, but Angel Yin, okay, get this out. She's -8 through 9 holes.
Wow.
She's smoking the course.
Wow!
She's through 9 and she's -8.
Yeah.
So she's birdied every hole but one or at least she's smoking the course. So leader at -8 right now. Emma just birdied a hole. She was even, but she just put a birdie up. So she's 7 shots off the lead here through 9. So she might be playing with Angel Yin. They're both. It shows them through 9. I don't know if they went off together or not.
I want to say that Emma was going to play with Jessica Corda and Lydia Coe today.
Okay. So yeah, you probably looked at that. I didn't know who she was paired.
They're
with.
in Indianapolis.
That's right.
And I want to say that golf course has like 4 holes inside the racetrack or something weird. I mean, it's weird. And
the Women in Tech Championship driven by Group 1001.
Yeah,
that's a mouthful to say. I got it clarified here. Only lost for Crittenden and Mayfield that year, and was the first district loss for Mayfield in a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that, Will. I couldn't remember.
And like I said, both of those teams went on to win state championships.
And who was the head coach at Crittenden County?
I was fixing to bring that up. A lot of us will know the head coach at Crittenden County that year. It was one Pat Gates.
That's right. And boy, they're what? Yeah, I'm telling you, good stuff, man.
Not a lot of coaches have taken 2 different schools to a state championship, and right there's one.
There's one that has done it. So a legend.
Yes.
So. That's awesome, and I'm sure they got a great show lined up. I was hoping they got Coach Lovelace lined up. Normally they try to do that. So, and in 2 classes, Will says. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So big time stuff there.
Okay, my top 5 list is burning my hand over here. We've got to get to it.
Let's take a break.
Can I get one thing in here, Todd?
Yeah,
go ahead, Chris.
But I don't want to. Before we run out of time, I know we'll spend a lot of time on our top 5 list. Were either of you surprised at Zion Harmon's ineligibility? Speaking, I know we're in football season.
We're going to bring that up, but yeah.
I was going to bring it up later.
Okay, well, we can talk about it later.
Surprised? Not really, but,
I think there's some juju back behind here that they're probably looking at before even.
I wonder if some of the past things
that's what I'm thinking.
Are part of that, because he's bounced around, and I think what's really going to get him is that they were so outspoken in the fact that they were, well, for a lack of a better term, shopping for a school. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if you all had that, and that's big, of course, being that his initial entry into high school hoops started here at Bowling Green High. It's kind of big news.
As an 8th grader, right?
Yeah, but I think one of the Channel 6 guys were reporting on Twitter that his father said he hadn't received anything from the KHSAA and didn't really know what they were talking about. So I think there's still a lot, that we don't know about this situation yet.
Well, stay tuned.
Yeah, I found it very interesting, and I wonder how much that's going to play into the Bowling Green High investigation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I think it all can kind of run together, and I'm sure the KHSAA is, looking at all this stuff. But be interesting to see how it all plays out. I know that.
Well, he ended up at Bowling Green because as an 8th grader, you can't play varsity in Tennessee.
That's right.
Well, then he went from Bowling Green to Adair County, I believe.
I think that's right.
And then this year,
he left for Adair.
So
following an AAU coach.
Yes. So I mean, it's a tough situation, but I mean, quite frankly, there's a lot of recruiting that goes on in high school sports. I wish I could tell everybody everything I know, but I probably better not. So
yeah.
No, we could spend hours swapping stories of what goes on in recruiting.
Well, and if you can't prove anything, there's no sense in saying anything.
I got recruited in high school for a unicycle squad. I did. I was riding unicycles, and there's a school that had a unicycle squad, and they called.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talent.
That was horrible. Hey, Chris, stick with us. You're going to be on our top 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Y'all got me as long as you want.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and go through our top 5. Listening to the Sideline Report on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. U-Ride in Princeton is proud to sponsor the Sideline Report each Thursday here on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. Go on out to U-Ride on Marion Road. Ask for Dave's Deal of the Week. It's usually the spotlight vehicle of the week, and it's waiting for you at U-Ride. Dave Harden is the sales manager at U-Ride. Go on out and ask to test drive Dave's Deal of the Week. It's out at U-Ride on Marion Road in Princeton. Give him a call, 270-365-3018, U-Ride of Princeton. And we're just a few minutes away from the top of the hour, but that's okay. Chris George, our guest today from over in Bowling Green. Todd calls him the mayor. And, Todd, I'll let you lead off and tell the folks what we're counting down today.
Okay, we're counting down our top 5 favorite songs from the 80s. And actually, I needed a top 50 for this because getting it down to just 5 was almost impossible. I changed it 10 times, and then I would think of another song and try to rework it. And I mean, I really love the songs that I've got on here. It's just I hate that I've got some that I couldn't get on the list someplace, and maybe they'll show up in a future top 5 favorite songs from the 80s that we forgot to include on the first list.
I agree. So who's first?
I'll go with number 5.
Okay.
Because I've got 3 songs at my number 5 spot. It's a tie.
Okay.
But 3 times during the 80s, I heard songs, and I thought to myself, the first time I heard them, that's a number 1 song.
Okay.
And it's these 3.
Okay.
Number 1 is Tina Turner's What's Love Got to Do with It?
Okay.
Nobody was expecting much from that album when it came out.
Yeah.
And it ended up being one of the great albums of the 80s. The first time I heard that song on MTV, I'm like, that song's going to be number 1 because it's that good. Another one, Mr. Mister's Broken Wings.
Oh, yeah.
And it took that song a long time to take off. I saw that on MTV, and it was like 6 months later before it really hit its stride. And then Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Yeah,
by Yes.
I'm a big Yes fan, but I like their older stuff. But that was a great album because they kind of came back with that OU81. That's Van Halen. I'm sorry. What is the name of that album? I don't know. It had Owner of a Lonely Heart on it and a couple other.
And the first time I heard that, I'm like, man, that song is so great. It's going to be number 1. So I actually got those 3 right.
You pegged them.
Those are 3. I don't always get things right, but I was there for those.
Yeah. Chris, are you in on this?
I'm here.
Okay. Go ahead with your 5th one.
My number 5, this was tough.
Yeah.
Todd told me late last night that I seen the list, and I had not. So I had to do some late-night homework. Was very entertaining because many of the songs that I found were 80s, I thought were 90s songs, were actually 80s songs.
That's cool.
But my number 5, and it was tough. But I'm going to 1980 with Kool and the Gang in Celebration.
Wow.
Hey, man, that's not a bad one. Yeah, I thought about throwing that on my list, to tell you the truth. That thing was huge. And at every sporting event, you still hear that song. And it's
transcended.
Yeah, and it's in rotation here on the Tiger quite a bit as well. So good choice there. My list is going to be weird if you're out there listening. I mean, it's going to be just like, what in the he thinking? I asked Todd if I could throw a country song on here, and I did. My number 5, I got a tie.
Okay.
I've got Hank Williams Jr., Country Boy Can't Survive.
All right.
And then I have another song by a little-known group that I think almost one-hit wonders. And, I mean, I could throw a Boomtown by David and David.
Okay.
You remember that song?
Barely.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
It might be Welcome to Boomtown, but it's pretty cool. And if Will Brown's still out there, he'll remember it. But anyway, that's a tie for my 5th one.
All right, so we're up to number 4.
Mm-hmm.
This guy did the greatest Super Bowl halftime show ever. It's Prince, When Doves Cry.
Yeah.
It was on the radio constantly.
Still is.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And it still holds up.
And an incredible artist, an incredible loss.
I considered that.
Well, that was 1984 when that Purple Rain album came out. And not only was the movie a hit and actually pretty decent, but the soundtrack's incredible. So, yeah, a good choice.
All right, Chris, number 4.
Well, my number 4 went to 1988 with that one, and it kind of ushered in a change in entertainment and music. I went with NWA, Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, wow.
Wow, yeah. Well, hey, it did. That was a groundbreaking deal, and it changed. It brought hip hop and rap kind of onto the scene. Really, a big one. You can go back and say, well, maybe Rapper's Delight did it by the Sugar Hill Gang back in the '70s. You can talk about some other, Run DMC. Of course, it's got to be in that mix in the '80s. But
and when Run DMC did the Walk This Way with Aerosmith, it kind of brought in a whole new audience to all of that.
It did. So, but I mean, there's all kinds of twists and turns in rock and roll and in music that you can. Put on there. So, yeah, Will Brown's chiming in.
It's funny, Todd, that you say Sugar Hill Gang, because initially I had Sugar Hill Gang on my list.
Oh, yeah, I'm in Rapper's Delight.
I technically found out it was Rapper's Delight.
And that's in the 70s.
I found out technically it was 1979.
That's exactly right. It's 1979. And
I had a couple of songs that ended up in the 70s.
Hibba to the hibba to hip hip. Yep. Now don't stop rocking to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogity beat. Oh man, I can go. But anyway, that's pretty cool stuff.
Todd just broke it down.
I can break it down. Will Brown chimes in here. Public Enemy. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'm so predictable. if you know me. And like I said, my list is going to be weird. But there's a little album that came out in 1983 by a Southern group out of Athens, Georgia, called REM. That, man, just blew me away. And there's a track off it called "Sitting Still" that I just love. I mean, chimey 12-string Rickenbacker guitars, weird lyrics, but from 1983, REM's Murmur album, "Sitting Still."
Oh wow!
So, never got any radio play except on probably college radio, but that's one of my favorite songs from the 80s.
Okay, I'm going to throw a bit of a surprise at everybody at number 3. Maybe it's a surprise, I don't know, but the Dream Academy. Life in a Northern Town.
That about made my list. I love that song.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
I can still listen to that song. Yeah. What year was that? It was about 87 or 88.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to be on heavy rotation at the WPKY.
When I was on the air, it was.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So, all right, Chris, we're up to number 3.
Number 3, we've heard it before. We've heard this name before. We'll say this great artist again. I got 1984 Prince with Purple Rain.
Good one.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't go wrong with Prince.
You can't go wrong with Prince. You can't. And I hate that he's not on my list officially, but I mean, like Todd and I said, next week we'll come back. I mean, you just can't narrow it down enough. But great pick, Chris. Mine's going back to 1981. Really just an album that really broke through. This isn't one of the huge hits off of it, but it's called "Damn the Torpedoes." Oop, I cussed on the radio. "Damn the Torpedoes" from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. "Here Comes My Girl."
Oh, wow.
Is a great track off 1981's "Damn the Torpedoes" album. And
now I'm upset that I don't have "Refugee" on my list.
Well,
how did I not have it on there?
I about put that one on, but that was the big hit, and "Don't Do Me Like That" off that album.
I need to redo my list.
But "Here Comes My Girl" was one of my favorite tracks off that record.
Okay.
So
we're at number 2?
Yep.
Okay.
Number 2.
"Don't Stop Believing," Journey.
How did that not make my list? Dang it. Can I put that on there as a tie?
Yeah, number 5 tie.
That is unbelievable because that's one of my favorite 80s songs of all time, and it didn't make my list.
Another big sports tune, that's the rally cry of every sports team,
There is no South Detroit, though. Do
really?
You know that?
Oh.
Yeah, Steve Perry got a lot of crap for that. No South Detroit.
Oh, man.
There's no section of Detroit called South Detroit. But anyway. Lay it on us, Chris. Number 2.
Number 2, I did not collude with Todd, I promise. But I also have Journey.
Oh, man, you guys.
2.
Wow,
that's pretty impressive.
But it is nothing. That song is not, like Todd said, it's nothing like being in a stadium, especially a night game, and it's a close ball game, and "Don't Stop Believing" blares in the fourth quarter. I mean, it does something to you.
I'm chilling up thinking about it because it's one of those songs that I kid you not, I don't get tired of listening to. I don't, because it takes me back to my childhood, I guess, and that time was a good time to be alive, I guess. But I hate that I don't have it on my list. I might put "Don't Start Believing" on my number 2 too. But here's my number 2, and this is another group that blew me away in the early 80s. I was watching a movie, and I can't say the movie title because I just can't. But
okay,
it had some great music in it, and I heard U2's "I Will Follow" in this movie, and I said I never heard I hadn't heard U2. This was in the early '80s, and I said I got to find out who this is. I remember thinking I got to find out who this is. So "I Will Follow" was the song. So U2, "I Will Follow" from 1980, off the. Oh shoot! One with Ziggy on there. I can't. I should know it, but I don't. I'm a U2 fan. But
you could have stuck "Don't Stop Believing" as a tie.
I think I'm going to / "Don't Stop Believing." So anyway, that's it.
All right, we're up to number 1. Nobody's going to get my number 1. You guys could guess for the rest of the day. You would not get my number 1. It's "Holding Back the Years" by Simply Red. To me, that's one of the greatest 80s songs.
It's a great song.
It just screams 80s.
Hey, Todd, I think that's an awesome pick. I really do.
Thank you.
I really do. I think that's an awesome pick because you're right.
I have that on my Amazon Prime.
It's one of those songs comes on the radio. It's like "Don't Stop Believing." You just have to start singing along and hope there's nobody around to hear you.
They got that right. All right, Chris.
My number 1, like Todd, I don't think anybody will pick it because this great artist had many great things in the 80s. Thriller, Billie Jean, but I went to 1988, and probably one of my favorite songs of all time is Man in the Mirror, just from Michael Jackson, just because of what it means. And I think it's something we as a world need to be looking at right now, is looking at ourselves in the mirror. And I just absolutely love Man in the Mirror, and the video is so powerful.
The king of pop, that's right.
And yeah, and I like, people probably think Billie Jean, Thriller, some of the others, but for me, it's Man in the Mirror is my favorite Michael Jackson song, and just it would be my number 1 80 song.
All right, I think that's a good choice. Well, I don't have the Gap Band Party Train for my number 1. I don't have Motley Crue on there, which I could have had. I could have had any Van Halen from then, but they're mainly late 70s, or the Cars even. I'm going with the Police, one of my all-time favorite bands. They're kind of a late 70s, early 80s band, but I'm going with Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic off the Ghost in the Machine album from 1981. And I could, that's one of those other songs I can just listen to all the time.
Again, why do I not have Synchronicity 2 on my list?
There you go, yeah. But it's impossible to make the list. You make the list an hour from now, it'll be different than what you just made.
I mean, I had an 80s list, and I had no Police, no Hall & Oates.
What about John Mellencamp?
No Little River Band.
Yeah, think about that.
Those were the 80s staples.
And not to mention the stuff that was coming out of Great Britain then, all the you know, and Joe Jackson.
I had him on my list at one time.
Culture Club.
I had Steppin' Out on my list, and I changed it.
So think of that stuff that didn't even make our list. So, I mean, it's impossible to do, but it's still fun to do.
Yes.
Now, I had 2 honorable mentions on my list.
Well, yeah, throw those at us.
5. I did throw out the Gap Band. You dropped a bomb on me. Todd did make a
there
Gap Band.
I heard that
earlier.
coming in this morning.
What about AC/DC,
That's just entertaining and funny. And then also had, you know, what is the 80s without USA for Africa, We Are the World? I mean, everybody 80s was on that. I mean, that's just got to be the honorable mention of all time, because everybody who was anybody in the 80s, except Prince,
You're exactly
was on
right.
We Are the World.
Man, I remember setting up VCRs during Live Aid and recording all of it. You know, I'd have one VCR for 4 hours, and I'd have the other VCR for the other, and I'd swap the and somebody's saying, I know there's somebody listening going, what's a VCR? But
yeah, somebody said, a VCR, what is that?
I still have one, actually, and I still play stuff.
So do I.
But anyway, good list, Chris. Thanks for joining us on that. Good. I mean, solid list from both you guys.
I'm upset that I didn't have Michael Jackson on here either.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Chris filled in the blanks for us there. But
and you know, it was 20 years later that I finally realized that the reason Michael Jackson was in the Pepsi commercial was because he was the king of pop.
That's pretty good. That was better than my unicycle joke a second ago. No doubt about it. So,
all right, where do we go from here?
Okay, we've covered Emma. We've got what about volleyball? Let's talk about our Lady Tigers. Off to a great start.
2-0.
Yeah, I say our Lady Tigers. They're all ladies, I guess, but that's not the only volleyball team we got. But yeah, 2-0, and they had Christian County. You know, they went to 4. They had to go 4 the other night, but still. Man, they're off to a great start.
Well, the Lady Tigers are in one of those positions where they get everybody's best shot in the region because they've had so much success.
Yeah.
That, I mean, everybody just gets fired up to play them.
They're gunning for them, yeah. So, but they're off to a great start. Congratulations to them. Of course, soccer opening up. The girls took a tough loss the other night. I think it was Monday night.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday night, the boys came back, and that Webster County team was tough.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they were pretty good. The Vasquez, I don't know if they're related or not. A couple of young men named Vasquez on there. It kind of looked like Pele, man. They were. I mean, they did. Yeah. I mean, there was a throw in or a corner kick or something, and I mean, he didn't do the backwards flip kick in, but he jumped to his side and scored a goal. It was unbelievable.
When they had a chance to finish, they were pretty good.
Yeah, they did. Of course, Caldwell County was on their heels most of the night, you know, and of course I caught Coach Schaefer briefly after the game, proud of his guys, you know, but they were on their heels most of the night, and he's playing, you know. He's got 13 guys, and you got to have 11 out there. So
yeah, both soccer teams in action tonight on the road.
Yep.
Volleyball is at Webster County. There is home action tonight, though. The middle school teams,
football,
will play Hopkinsville at Tiger Stadium, so there's some football action at home. And, of course, tomorrow the big football team plays over at Christian County. 5:30 again is the start time. And one thing I want to get to Chris about before we get out of here, Kentucky basketball. How about those Wildcats down in the Bahamas?
Woo!
You know,
looking pretty tough.
The word was going down there that, hey, we might lose a couple of games because these teams are really good, and the Cats blew out all 4 games. So and without E.J. Montgomery. So So think about the possibilities for hoops season.
Yeah, that's exciting.
That game and the Champions Classic, somebody posted on Twitter last night because apparently Duke looked really good in their Canadian tour and said how cool would it be Duke and Kentucky opened the basketball season in Indy and they closed the basketball season against each other in Minneapolis.
Well, that first game's going to be just, I think everybody's going to be crowded around to check that one out.
The thing that strikes me with this UK basketball team is I think they're a bunch of gym rats, for one thing, which, is great. And they share the basketball, and I think their basketball IQ is just really high. And P.J. Washington, he doesn't look like the same player. And I thought he had a great year last year. Everybody remembers the free throws in the last game, but, he had a really good season. But he doesn't even look like the same player. Stepping out and hitting threes, wow.
Did you get to watch all the games? I saw clips.
I taped most of them. Got to see a lot of it, not all of it. But, man, what I saw, they looked really good.
Excuse me? Taped?
What impressed me is their physicality.
That's what I still say, taped.
Calipari teams aren't physical, and this team is a very physical team.
Well, yeah, last year's team basically got punked out of the NCAA tournament by a team that just came in and bullied them around. This year's team will not get bullied around.
Yeah.
Not with Reed Travis out there, and like I said, P.J. Washington looks like a completely different player, and those guards. Who do you play? Yeah.
And Tyre Hero is we've only seen the surface zone and scratching what he's going to do.
So I'm excited about basketball. Got to temper that for a little while because there's so much going on right now. Again, football. Friday, Stadium of Champions against Christian County, 5:30.
Yep, and that moves our news to 4 o'clock, 4:30. The Coach Barnes coaches show, 5 o'clock pregame, and kickoff set for 5:30 with Dennis and Bob here on the Tiger. Do want to chime in? Kenny Courtner chimes in on the top 5. So all you sports fans, and no Eye of the Tiger.
I considered it, but I swear it's one of those songs that I've almost heard too many times. It's a great song. It's kind of like Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Incredible album, but I think I've heard it too many times.
It's kind of like the Eagles' Hotel California for me. I hear that. What a great song it is. Oh, my gosh, when it comes on. You got to just
Or Def Leppard's entire Hysteria album.
Oh, yeah.
Play me something else. It's great. I love them, but I've heard it too many times.
Go out and catch some great kids in their athletic competitions. Head over to the football games, support our Tigers. If it rains, it's okay. You won't melt. We want you over there.
Well, you might.
Our Tigers. Well, we might, I guess, if we're Willy Wonka or something. But yeah, we want you over there to cheer on our Tigers. It's going to be a great opening night, I think, and we want everybody cheering on our Tigers.
Yeah, it's 5:30. Tell your friends, 5:30.
Yeah,
you don't want to get there at 7 o'clock because you're going to miss all the good stuff.
That's right. So check that out, and I think we got most everything covered. I don't know what else you got on your list.
Well, I had the St. Louis Cardinals written down because, they're kind of on a roll right now. And earlier this season, it looked like they would never be on a roll again, so I'm pretty happy.
Unbelievable.
12-2.
Well, you bring up the Cardinals, Todd,
and hit the fan.
that was something I had. Is I was disgusted last night in the cowardly way these pitchers went at Carpenter and Acuna last night.
I'm telling you,
that's just absolutely ridiculous.
What's going on with that? Nolan Ryan, I don't think would ever done that.
No, he would just have struck somebody out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He'll just
or beat them up, one or the other.
One or the other. Yeah. But man, that was that I didn't see what happened to Carpenter, but that Acuna, however you say his name, Urena guy. That was just that was uncalled for. And I think all of baseball. I saw lots of comments by players and Major League Baseball. That's uncalled for, man.
These guys are on epic tears right now.
Exactly.
Carpenter, and I'm no Cardinals fan by any stretch.
Yeah.
would love nothing more. I love nothing more than to dog them out to Todd.
Yeah,
man, I'm stuck between two Braves fans.
Yeah, you are stuck between two Braves fans. But I don't dislike the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals myself. I mean, But
I love nothing more. My favorite thing in the world is to dog the Cardinals out to Joey Randolph and Todd. But that guy's just doing some amazing stuff post All-Star break, and you run a slider in on his hand like that. Yeah. Come on, pitch. You know what? Go compete. And then what the Marlins did, that was just cowardly, throwing a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and you intended to drill him in the ribs.
And that can take a guy out for the season where he hit.
Oh yeah, I mean, just a dangerous play.
Yeah, just made me. I was angry after watching all of that, and like I said, no Cardinals fan, but I'm impressed with what Carpenter's doing. The guy's having an MVP type season. You got a guy having a Rookie of the Year type season, and you target them. That's what that is. It's targeting. And I'm all for the unwritten rules of baseball, but come on now. He hit a home run. He competed. It wasn't like they did anything to show you up. They're just out there competing. Go compete.
That's right.
Well, the Cardinals are one game back in the wild card. Mike Schilt is 19-9 as Cardinals manager. That's the best start of any Cardinals manager in franchise history. So I'm just happy. They look like a baseball team, so I'm glad to be able to watch them. And still upset that I don't get credit for starting Carpenter's hot streak, because I noticed, I've got this picture of him behind my desk at work. I noticed one day it was a little crooked, so I straightened that thing up. He's been on a tear ever since. So nobody touches the picture behind my desk at work.
Well, I'm gonna make it crooked again Friday night.
Well, it ought to be fun to see the teams down the stretch, and we, for us baseball fans, we want to see the game played the way it should be. I mean, there are times when you throw at guys. I mean, it's part of baseball, but not when they're streaking really well. They haven't really done anything to your team. They're just on a streak. I mean, that I don't know what the result of Acuna's, but he took one, I think, to the wrist, and it should have been his, But that
elbow. You got him on the elbow. On the elbow. I read this morning the X-rays were negative.
Good.
But they were going to continue to look. So at least it wasn't broken. But 98-mile-an-hour fastball to the elbow.
and Chris, that can still get inside your head.
Yes.
I mean, every time you're standing in now, it could be inside your head. Now we'll see how he bounces back, which I'm sure he might be continuous tear, but it can still get inside your head a little bit.
Yeah. And Carpenter's X-rays last night were negative, and they expect him to play today.
Good.
One more thing I want to get out. The Caldwell County 6th through 8th grade softball team started up Tuesday. So
that's right.
And had a big crowd out there to watch.
Great.
So, there's a lot of sports going on.
A lot of sports going on, and if you can catch these kids, we definitely encourage you to do so.
Pick up the previews for Caldwell County High School football, soccer, and volleyball in the last 3 issues of the Times later. As I said on Twitter this week, trade with your friends and collect all 3.
That's right. Why not? Better than Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
And we certainly thank you for joining us and being a part of the Sideline Report. It's brought to you on Thursdays at 9:03.
And the softball team is playing this weekend, Friday and Saturday, in a big tournament over at Christian County. So good luck to those girls.
Okay, yes, indeed. We definitely want to do that. Christian County.
They'll be at Tiebreaker Park while the rest of us are over at the Stadium of Champions watching football.
A lot of blue and gold in Christian County this weekend. So head on over and catch out a great sport event. Chris, thank you for joining us as usual. Welcome, and come on back anytime, okay?
Anytime you all want me, just tell me a day or two ahead of time, and I'll be here.
All right,
thanks,
man.
Chris.
We certainly appreciate it. Have a good day, bud.
See you tomorrow, Todd.
See ya.
Bye-bye. All right, and we certainly appreciate Chris George from over in Bowling Green joining us.
The mayor of Western Kentucky University.
Mayor of WKU. And that's going to wrap it up for us today, Todd. Thank you so much.
Wow, quick show.
And we're turning our attention to football as it will be tomorrow night.
There's almost so much going on. 5:30. Okay. There's almost so much going on this time of year that it's tough to figure out what you want to talk about. There's just you could go several different ways.
No doubt about it. And we probably didn't even cover it. Somebody's sitting there going, well, they didn't talk about this. But
I love this time of year because, I get fired up when football starts. I get fired up with all the sports. The community gets fired up with football. I go out and see somebody and they're talking about the football team, and that gets me even more ready to go. And I think there'll be a big crowd over at Hopkinsville Friday night. for the 5:30 game.
For the 5:30 game, that's right. And, of course, we encourage you to come on out and check out the game. We'll have it here on WPKY, the Tiger. Again, our news just before, right around 4 o'clock. The Coach Barnes Coaches Show, 4:30. Pregame at 5 o'clock. McGregor Group pregame show. And then, of course, the kickoff at 5:30. Todd will be there taking fantastic pictures and keeping stats. And Bob and Dennis Stevens will bring you the action from the Stadium of Champions here on Tiger and streaming online at WPKYonline.com.
And on Twitter, I'll have a few updates.
That's right. So join us. We got you covered here on the Sideline Report. Thank you, Todd. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Thanks.
That's going to wrap it up. Tune in next Thursday at 9:03 for the Sideline Report, and brought to you by U-Ride, Bashir Sawmill, and ABC Finance out on 62 West in the Princeton Plaza. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next week on the Sideline Report here on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. Thanks for listening to the Sideline Report, brought to you by the Times leader, Todd Griffin, in studio to get us up to date on everything Caldwell County sports. So be sure to tune in at 9:03.